Welcome to another episode of Theological Pipe. News, culture, sports, politics, and everything else from a theological perspective.
It's all summed up in love.
What should I do? Tell me. God is good. Give it to me, give it to me, give it to me, give me peace. Give me peace.
Put that in your theological pipe and smoke it.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Theological Pipe. Glad you're here, and I hope everyone's recovered from the election that didn't end. We're still trying to figure out who won. It appears that Biden will be the new president, and that's what it appears now. There's going to be some challenges and some court cases, so it could change. I think it's pretty obvious that there was probably some kind of vote shenanigans, vote fraud, whatever going on. So hopefully they'll get to the bottom of it. And my hope, which I think is everyone's hope, is that every legitimate vote gets counted. And by legitimate, I mean that were cast legally, that were cast by the people that wanted to cast them, and that were received when they're supposed to be received. And that's it. That's what I hope happens. And I think that will. I hope that will happen. And I hope when it does, that it's fairly clear that there's a winner. And so if it's Biden, as it appears, I hope and pray that, it's fairly clear that, yeah, we got rid of the bad ballots, but he still won. If there's voter fraud, I hope it's just not even a question that it was voter fraud, that everyone that sees it for what it is, that it was actually voter fraud. And if it tilts the election to Trump, hey, Trump's the president. And that's, I don't know how long that will take. I hope it happens sooner than later. And I hope that regardless of the outcome, that cooler heads prevail. I hope that if Biden keeps the lead he has and winds up winning, and there doesn't appear to be voter fraud, and they really do what they're supposed to do and look at everything, that Trump supporters just say, okay, hey, we're going to work on winning the House in a couple of years and that election. If it is switched and Trump somehow wins and there really was voter fraud, I hope people get prosecuted. They probably won't, because they never do. But if it switches to him, I hope that cooler heads prevail, and the Democrats and the Antifa, Black Lives Matter, those people that are rioting and stuff, I pray that they think to themselves, hey, maybe we should rethink some things here, because what we're doing isn't working. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about as we continue over the next few days in the election. And I'm going to do my best, even though I'm going to talk about the election results now. I don't want to keep talking about the election results, because it's just a waste of time for me. It's I don't want to say boring, it's frustrating, and it's divisive, and it just doesn't do anything for me. I just don't like it, and I don't like where we're at, especially if you put things in perspective. If Biden is the president, the one thing that conservatives or Republicans should be able to take out of it is, hey, we still have the Senate. The Republicans still have the Senate. If you're a conservative, you're a Republican, you say, we still have the Senate. And again, the prediction was that the Senate was going to go to the Democrats. They were going to gain control of the Senate. And they were kind of banking on that to then do all the things that they said they were going to do. You also, if you're a conservative, if you're a Republican, can take solace in the fact that the Republicans were, again, predicted to lose up to 10 to 15 seats in the House of Representatives. They're already the minority party in the House, and it was looking like the Democrats were going to gain seats, and they actually wound up losing seats in the House of Representatives. So the House is still controlled by the Democrats, or will still be controlled by the Democrats, but not with the advantage that they had just these past few years. So, and again, all in all, if things go the way they go, and again, I hope everything works. I hope everything is litigated and looked at correctly. And I hope all the legitimate votes count. And I hope the right people win. And if there was crimes or there was fraud, I hope they go to prison. But at the end of the day, if Biden is the president and you're a Trump person, I have a lot of friends that are Trump people, and I get it. And I told you before, there's things I like about Trump. There's things I don't like about Trump. There's a few things I like about Biden. I'm not a big Biden fan, less of a Kamala Harris fan even, and some of the things on the agenda. But that be that as it may, if you're a Trump person and he loses, he had 4 years. He's still a tremendous force in politics. You have to be somewhat excited that the narrative that he's racist and that Republicans are racist was really kind of blown out of the water. Because if Biden wins, it's going to be, from what it looks like, because white males didn't vote for Trump and at the same rate that they did in 2016. And in fact, in every other area, white women, black men, Hispanics, you list them, Puerto Ricans, the LGBTQ community, all of those people voted for Trump in greater numbers than they did in 2016. So take solace in that, and take solace in the fact that even if Biden is the president, the radical socialist agenda that people were scaring people with, and I'm not saying they were going to do it, but that's what the concern was. The fact of the matter is they're not doing it. They can't pack the Supreme Court, nor should they. I think that was just a dumb thing to get people to vote for them. They can't do it anyway. They can't pack the Supreme Court. They can't get a radical agenda because the Senate has to consent. That's the beauty of the three systems of government, the three branches. So, if Biden is the president, he's the president, and take solace in the fact, again, that if you are a Republican, that usually in 2 years when they do the midterm elections, the party that's in power, that has the presidency, loses seats. So there's a decent chance that you can take over the House, and then the fight will go on for the presidency in a couple years after that, and we'll be back at it again, and who knows who will run then. And keep the faith if you're a Republican. If you're a Democrat, keep the faith, right? And I hope that both parties, if you won the election, you won the election. And if you're a Democrat, look at ways to not demonize the other side. Both sides do it, right? If you always frame everything in a they're evil, we're not thing, it just doesn't work. It hasn't worked. It's not working. And so again, that's one of the things you can take solace of. And again, there are some things that need to be fixed. The way we run elections in this country needs to be fixed with ballot harvesting. That's a joke. Mail-in ballots a month before the election is silly. Even some, the mail-in ballots that are accepted after the postmark, or if they're not even postmarked in Philadelphia, that's dumb. The system that they count is ridiculous, and that people just stop counting and they don't allow people to watch, and it was a mess, and I don't want to say it was designed that way, but it creates chaos and it creates a good story for the media. So that needs to change. The media needs to change, which they're not going to, but we can hold their feet to the fire and not watch and not listen, and we're not. I mean, it's not working what they're doing, and they're not going to change. I wish they would. I wish they would have a come to Jesus thing and say, we've got to do better. We can't be as biased as we are on both sides. And tech, like Google and Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and all those things, Twitter censoring tweets, and Facebook canceling accounts of certain people running for office simply because they don't want them to be there. Just that whole thing. Let's have those discussions and work on those things together, Republicans and Democrats, because the things that work for one side now will be used against them later on, because the pendulum in politics, it swings left to right, left to right, left to right, and that's what it does. So again, as Christians, as believers, I have so many people that are Trump fans that are Christians. There's really nothing to worry about because God's in control. He is on his throne. We say all the time, I trust God and I believe in God and I believe he knows what he's doing. But then we freak out when a presidential election doesn't go the way we want to. And if you're a Democrat and you're a believer and you're happy that Biden won, what changed? What's going to change tomorrow if he's announced as the winner? Hopefully nothing in your life. If you haven't loved people, if you haven't been kind to people, if you haven't been friendly to people, if you haven't sought out to take care of the least of these, then you were waiting for Biden to be elected, then again, your focus is on the wrong things. Right? Your focus should be on God and be doing the right thing and loving people and caring about people. So, take some deep breaths. Don't put so much stock in the election that it's going to, freak you out and cause you anxiety. It shouldn't, especially if you're a believer. I'm not saying if you have anxiety. I'm not saying if you have fear. I'm not saying you're wrong or you're bad. We're always going to suffer with that. But when that happens, remember what the Bible says. Remember what God said. Remember the fact that if you're a believer, that there is a higher power, that there is something other than just this. You really don't want to put your hope in a person because they're going to fail you. You don't want to put your hope in an ideology or a political party because they're going to fail you. put your hope in God. That's where it belongs. So I guess I'll leave that as my theological pipe. Sorry for if you're watching on YouTube, it's dark. I started recording before it got dark, and then I had to stop it. Now I keep forgetting with the time change, it gets dark again. So, keep the faith. Be strong, be happy, go live your life, go do what you need to do. The sun's going to come up again tomorrow and the next day and the next day. And if you're a believer, man, you know that prayer works. Be praying for this country right now for whatever happens with these court challenges, whatever happens with these recounts, that no matter the outcome, man, that we peacefully transition either to another term for Donald Trump or a new presidency for President Biden. And no matter who's president, you pray for them, and you still go out and take care of things. You still go out and take care of your family and your friends, and you love on each other. We need each other. Forget about the presidency. People are struggling right now because of COVID. People are struggling right now with their mental health, and there are a lot of people that are hurting, and we know what the answer is. But we shouldn't be so concerned with politics that we're not reaching out to our friends and neighbors. And so, take solace in that. Take solace in the fact that you can still go do what you need to do, and you're going to do it. So, be kind to each other, be nice, be friendly, love each other. Put that in your theological pipe and smoke it. If you're freaking out over the election, I think you're freaking out over the wrong thing. And again, I'm pointing the finger at myself as well in this, because I go both ways on who's going to win and what's best for the country. Again, who's going to win? Whoever God wants. He's already put him on the throne. He knows he's already put him in a position of power. God doesn't put anyone in positions of power unless he wants them there. And when they're there, he's the one that guides everything. He's the one that uses everything. Even if they do something that he doesn't want, he can use it for good for those who love him. So, take solace in that. It's going to be okay. Let's get through this. Let's get through the COVID and whether it's a vaccine or, herd immunity, I don't care what it is. Let's get through this, and let's get back to just, loving each other and getting through all this divisiveness. And again, we need to pray for that, because it could go the other way. It could just get worse no matter what happens. I don't want that. I don't want it to get worse. I don't think anyone else does. Right? So let's move past the divisiveness. And if you're a part of a political party, and if you're a Republican and Trump says something stupid, man, call him out. Not even just don't listen to it. And if you're a Democrat and you hear they say something stupid, just don't listen to it. Don't buy into it. Just be loving and caring and friendly, and we can get through this together. So put that in your theological pipe and smoke it, and we'll see you next time.
Well, bye.